Rwanda, Eugene Anangwe, spoke to Jean-Claude Nkundwa, a Kigali-based Burundian peace-building and conflict management expert, on the way forward in the ongoing political crisis in Burundi.
Right, there's been a lot of development around the Burundian crisis issue, and of course last week Rwanda announced that it is planning to relocate the Burundian refugees in Rwanda just to avoid the ongoing speculations and reports that it was training militia to disrupt the peace in Burundi. Now joining me in studio is none other than Jean-Claude, who lives in Rwanda and he's a Burundian. Jean-Claude, first of all, very quickly, what is your reaction to this announcement by Rwanda's Foreign Affairs Minister that Rwanda plans to relocate the refugees, that are here in Rwanda? As a Burundian living in Rwanda, what is your reaction?
Okay, as a Burundian living in Rwanda, first of all, I quickly understood the position of Rwanda, because the accusation, I myself didn't understand it, because if I try to develop, it will be treating consequences instead of causes. We have been warning international community that if you delay taking any actions on Burundi since 2013, if you delay taking actions, these will drag all Great Lakes region in conflict. And now, seeing Rwanda being harassed by everyone that it's hosting rebels, for me that would be really, it's understandable. Rwanda has a responsibility to protect Rwanda and Rwandans. So if they accept to host Burundians, and this causes Rwandans and Rwanda being also affected by the conflict, it's easy to cooperate with international community to find how peacefully and smoothly and gently just sending Burundians to other countries where they feel safe, as they feel safe in Rwanda, and then just avoid that kind of paranoia.
But the critics of this announcement are saying that it's too drastic, especially for the refugees who are claiming that being in Rwanda they feel more safe than being anywhere else, and they feel it's not our fault. Whoever is accusing Rwanda, has their own intentions, but it's not us, the refugees. So relocating us elsewhere where we are not sure of how we will be seems so drastic to some refugees here.
Yeah, these are the people maybe who don't have any connections with the situation. I feel safe in Rwanda, but if I know that Rwanda is going to be affected because of the host that I'm having here, I want Rwanda to be safe so that we can have at least one country that is safe in the Great Lakes region, because I would not prefer that Rwanda be affected by what's happening in Burundi because I'm here. And also, seeing the announcement of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, they say we're going to talk with the partners and to find other way of relocating them, which means that they'll find a safer way to do that. So really, it will be very, I feel very sad to see that I'm removed here. First of all, I don't see anywhere that you bring me. If you take me from Mahama to Miami, I've lived in the US for 3 years. I don't think I've been ever felt safe the way I feel safe here. I think it will be a great discussion to find how do you put these people, take these people from here, and you bring them
Let's talk
in the better places.
Let's talk of the quest to find a solution to the crisis.
Right.
There've been talks in Uganda, then went to Arusha, but the whole process doesn't seem to be coming up with a final resolution.
Yes.
If you look at it from your own perspective, where do you see the solution to the Burundian crisis being found from?
I think the solution will come from Burundi and also with international community. Because when you start talking about the risk of genocide, it's no longer an issue that can be solved by the local people. This is an international community issue. But what's being disappointing is to see that some people have a good motive and some others are boycotting, whether in Africa and in the West. I think people need to really come back and think about the history, especially think about the delicacy of the situation in the Great Lakes region. Today is Burundi, and now they're dragging in Rwanda, and see DRC what's happening, and we're not sure about Uganda. I think international community should really stop politicking issues and really think about acting, and especially solving the issue in Burundi before it's too late.
But in the end, this issue of the international community has it's sort of like a song being sung, and it's sounding like now a broken record that the international community needs to come in. But up to when will we keep saying this? I mean,
I don't know when we can stop, because we have to keep on discussing about solutions, and they will have to intervene. Since Rwanda 94, people have developed a lot of intervention approaches and in prevention against genocide. Recently, the U.S. Senate have debated this actually, and I think people have come up with different approaches to intervene and prevent. So if international community, if the UN and AU don't find a solution to this, I think there has to come any country that take leadership and deal with the situation. Because we have examples in the Great Lakes region to the time of Idi Amin when Tanzania could not bear that. So people choose just to watch again people being massacred by a regime, or one country have to take a risk and stop this. Because if the nations cannot come together, someone have to stand with his moral beliefs and principles and do something.
The issue of sovereignty seems to be blocking out that particular aspect of,
Yes.
of idea or suggestions you're making, that someone has to come in. But you understand that the African Union had planned to send in over 5,000 troops, and Burundi said, no, we are not taking in anyone.
Right.
And the African Union would, had to go back and say, okay, if Burundi accepts. This question of sovereignty and vis-a-vis the suggestion that you're making, then how do we go beyond that and find an amicable solution, regardless of where it comes from, whether within or outside of Burundi?
Yeah, I think this comes back to what I've just said, that there has been principles, rules, approaches that developed from the lessons that people learned from Rwanda, failure of international community to intervene. And they have what they call responsibility to protect. And when we talk about responsibility to protect, the issue of sovereignty have to be debated. So when these negotiations were launched in Uganda, for example, President Museveni stood up and said, there is no sovereignty when the regime is killing its own people. So now I think it's clear. They have everything together. What they need is just to act. They know what to do, and they have possibility to do. And what we need is just they get away of their political speculations and really act and save the people and create peaceful space in the Great Lakes.
Right. In closing, the presidential candidate in Uganda, Kizza Besigye, in the debate said that Burundi could have got a better mediator, you know, trying to insinuate that President Museveni was not the best mediator for this particular crisis. Your quick reaction to this?
I'm not the one to appreciate, but the East African community is the one who agreed that President Museveni can do it. And we've seen all parties in Burundi.
Following these conversations, this mediation, do you feel that enough is being done to solve it?
No, enough is not being done. And that's what actually I'm questioning. Why do people choose a person who's not doing something? So we are actually angry against Museveni delaying to do something in Burundi. And we see that the situation is not easy for him. But now, people could come together and find the other one. We've done a lot of suggestions. We suggest that Kofi Annan may jump in. We suggest that President of Senegal can jump in, because Burundians were actually, because they speak French. But we also want someone with authority and who's strong and who has an African perspective. And it's not people who lack, it's not the resources that lack, but I think there is a lack of will. And actually, it's showing us that people didn't learn in what happened in the past.
Thank you so much, Jean-Claude, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, indeed. And of course, we now switch you back to the KTN studios in Kenya for more news.
Thank you, Eugene. Recent threats of Al-Qaeda attacks in West Africa have led to a counter-terror training by Senegalese soldiers as the United States military foresees the growing presence of the Islamic group. KTN's Ashley Mazuri reports.
West Africa has increasingly fallen victim of Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, with 2 high-profile strikes that led to massive destruction. Last Friday, in the coastal Senegalese town of St. Louis, Dutch forces were seen training Senegalese troops in a military exercise aimed at dealing with urban attacks. Senegalese troops were seen in boats as they approached the coastline where Dutch trainers, acting as insurgents, had taken over a villa. The training at St. Louis is part of an annual US-led counter-terrorism training program known as Exercise Flintlock, aimed at helping African forces to tackle a growing militant threat across West Africa. Much of the region is on alert at the moment.
The theme of Flintlock this year is fighting international crime and terrorism, as in the unit of countries together. For us, because we are living in the maritime environment, River Senegal and coastline. And as Netherlands Marines, we are used to operate in this country.
According to Senegalese Commander Colonel Anthony Diouf, the collaboration with Western forces was beneficial to local troops, but the re-emergence of Akim and other militant groups in the region has African and Western powers concerned.
Very concerned about it. They're concerned about the ability of such a threat, of a small, well-trained terrorist organization, to achieve effects by having an attack in one of these regions. And the threat that it'll have in terms of shaking the confidence of the people and damaging the economy. So that is something, as I talk to my African partners, all of them are extremely concerned with.
Despite 1,000 to 1,200 troops deployed to West Africa by the United States, U.S. officials say the year's Flintlock event is marked by a growing threat of Islamic State in Libya, Boko Haram in the Lake Chad Basin, and Akim in the Sahel, which, while deeply concerning, is also boosting African security cooperation.
The concern about the increased collusion and cooperation between different terrorist and threat organizations and the ability to exchange tactics and become more capable and confident because of their collaboration. That is a concern that we have, and so we're looking at that very closely.
The Islamic State has thousands of fighters in the former Italian colony and controls parts of Libya's northern coastal strip, including the city of Sirte. Senegal, on the other hand, has a reputation for stability in an otherwise turbulent region, but is on alert over fears of Islamist insurgency is spreading in the region. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.
A baby Maasai giraffe was introduced to the public on Friday by Greenville Zoo officials in South Carolina. The giraffe, named Tatu, was born on February 2nd to his parents Autumn and Walter. Tatu weighed nearly 72 kilograms when he was born and stands at 1.8 meters tall. Tatu means third child in Swahili, being the third calf to his parents. The zoo offered the public the chance to submit giraffe name suggestions on their website, while online visitors could follow the calf's progress via the giraffe cam. Zoo officials said in the press release. Officials say they were receiving name suggestions from Europe and Latin America. The Maasai giraffes are native to Africa, predominantly living in Kenya and Tanzania, and considered to be the tallest land animal currently living on Earth, according to giraffesworld.com website. Now, on the bottom line tonight, you will agree with me that the story of the Maasai giraffe in an American zoo brings warmth to the heart. The pride of Africa is in its natural heritage, the lush greens, expansive savanna and wildlife across the African rangelands. Recently told you about the delight of conservationists to add the news of instituting tougher laws to ensure the protection of lions. It only feeds into the larger wildlife conservation agenda. At the same time, here on a Bottom Line East Africa, we told you the story of the world-famed Kenyan pride of lions featured in a popular BBC documentary series Big Cat Diaries at the Masai Mara. Not long before then, another world-famous lion, Cecil, was shot dead by a sport hunter in Zimbabwe. Over the years, the numbers of lions, leopards, elephants, buffaloes as well as rhinos have significantly dropped. Consequently, potential tourists choose alternative destinations offering similar products. Today, the value of ivory to a poacher is $170 per kilogram, whereas the final black market value is $2,000 per kilogram. Kenya's elephant population now stands at only 11,000 and lions at 2,000. The declining tiger population in the world has led to a demand for lion body parts for oriental medicines. The bottom line is that the human greed for quick wealth cannot be left unchecked. The government cannot win this war on its own, neither can wildlife conservationists do it in isolation. We all are responsible citizens with equal stakeholders in important wildlife resource and need to be vigilant and protect our biodiversity. And that is the bottom line. And that is where we leave it on Bottom Line East Africa tonight. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Kitili. We'll see you tomorrow.